So I'm just smudging. This is a dragon's blood smudge. Sage, I should say, dragon blood sage is actually smudging to actually get rid of a spirit that's around my foot and around my lower legs. Jason Cherniak sent over, unfortunately, heat flame carbon ash in front of Scotland Yard because I asked God to arrest him because I knew it was him trying to cause me pain all the time. So that was one of them. I don't know if he's replicated out, but this pain is actually pretty severe sometimes. Right now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 10 pain, really, on my foot, but on my legs, really, and so I'm just wearing blue, kind of, not blue, somebody said blue. That actually worked. Yes, hi, it's Rob Donovan here. Orbed around Natalie, so I'm actually enjoying the smudge too, because I've been attacked today, so I'm just coming in as an orb, body, mind, spirit orb, because we were actually in a huge fight today with the Cherniaks over having a nice dinner, not lunch. Natalie did the lunch with her really good burger that she did, which had a nice pesto mayo. And so we went to a restaurant because Natalie had suggested it because it's an excellent chef's plate meal. So she put it into a burger joint by asking God to do that. And God did it back in 2008. It's 2025 now. So it was Max's Burgers down in Toronto. So we knew about this burger. So we went, Gabriel Mock, Patrick J. Adams from Suits, and myself, Rob Donovan, and Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki from Supernatural. So we were all there having the burger today, and Fred's wife, which is his neighbor, actually Fred's neighbor I should say, not his wife, actually went and had chef's plate at home. And this burger actually Natalie did, instead of actually fast food, which she wolfed down the burger, she actually did it a slow food. So she had ordered for this particular menu item, because she'd put it back in time to 2015 in the band room at Bayview when she's actually doing chef's plate and here at the house. So she had ordered it as a slow food, so it takes you 5 minutes between each bite, and the burger kind of stayed warm. It wasn't too bad, and it takes about 35 minutes, 7 bites for the burger, and it's really enjoyable to actually have a slow food that God is actually doing for this particular burger. Now this gets around that Fred Krueger, who's Jason Cherniak's rival, is actually having this burger with his wife making it. Jason got jealous that he didn't get invited into this loop, even though he's been really attacking Natalie and really attacking her physically and also spiritually with spirit attacks around her. So when she's actually smudging, she's actually trying to neutralize the pain of a spirit hit that's head to toe that she's doing. So she's doing around her left foot at the moment. She will probably need to smudge up the house and actually do a smudging in, you can see this, in the bedroom as well. So she uses the Axe body spray. She's got it there, Dark Temptation. It's a chocolate spray that she has, which is kind of for guys and girls. It's unisex, and she's been using the Axe body spray to actually make sure that she's actually feeling okay when she's actually getting spirit attacked. It doesn't happen all the time. She's sitting here at the table, and today she was actually putting all of her seeds into moist stratification to actually rehydrate them for the spring planting. So they have to stay for 6 weeks or so in water. So when she's actually doing this work as a naturalist, she seems to be always targeted by Jason Cherniak. The whole thing about her working at Ontario Heritage Trust, and we knew this as police officers, was that she was being attacked by Jason Cherniak with Fred Krueger's 100,000 spirits that were ordered. Really, now Fred actually calmed down today and got to be a lot more excited about life because he had this burger. He actually realized he'd been going against Natalie and doing things that were really irreverent, and so he did apologize today to Natalie. The problem with Jason Cherniak is, and even Fred, is that they're both dead, the original people that actually were real people. These are actually leftover spirits that are actually making their clones, but it's actually not that you can't get out of it. It's just you need to apologize. So, and you need to stop the activity of what you're doing. We've arrested Fred several times today, and he actually wasn't stopping. And today at dinner time, because we had another burger that was the same, he actually started doing an attack. Not Fred, but Jason Cherniak, out of jealousy that Natalie didn't give him a box of chef's plate, which actually was his wife's idea to ask for it, his neighbor, I should say, and gave it to Fred for lunch. It had nothing to do with Natalie. She didn't give it to Fred's neighbor, his wife. So Natalie, for some reason, is getting attacked right now. So she's doing a smudging, and she's actually using the smoke to neutralize the spirits. And this is actually how Native American Indians have been doing spirit neutralization for about 50 years now, is actually using smudge. Now this is dragon's blood smudge or sage that's you use for smudging. The dragon's blood is actually soaked from the dragons that Mussolini with an evil spirit made, and this actually neutralizes evil spirits. So the dragons were spirit made, and we actually went today, as Natalie suggested it, although it was very gross to do this, but she suggested working with God to actually get dragon's blood smudged to actually neutralize evil spirits. Because what happens is the blood is actually, it doesn't come from the dragon, it comes from the evil spirit who actually will cooperate with the royals to an extent of actually putting something that is actually neutralizing of the evil spirit. So although the spirit around Natalie is actually an evil-y spirit, not an evil spirit, it is actually neutralizing the actual spirits. So she has to do smudging head to toe, because what she's finding out, and she's going to have to use the Axe body spray, is that, and it kind of smells a little nicer, like, you're right, because it smells chocolatey. You'll find that the smudge can only work really when the smoke is actually around the foot and around the smudge. There were a few people that came through today that were neutralized by this, and they orbed through. They said they felt better. And so when you actually are doing smudging, it's sometimes the whole house needs to be smudged. Natalie's done that in the bedroom upstairs and smudged the house, setting off the fire alarm, she said, a few years ago, because she needed to neutralize the spirit cutting around her, which is being ordered by Jason Cherniak to Fred Krueger spirits. She's only got a few spirits of the 100,000 order, and that started at work at Ontario Heritage Trust at 10 Adelaide Street East, because she's a naturalist. And we are actually removing the city of Toronto, which was built by the Anglo false gods, and we're going to bring the national park back, which we did a little bit downtown today. We removed 29 buildings, and that was this morning early, about 6-7 o'clock, with Mississauga tribe, who are demolition experts. All the buildings came down at once, and they were 29 very tall office buildings. And so Natalie had ordered this to make sure it was done before the bird migration, because FLAP, Fatal Light Awareness Program, there's no volunteers. Everybody who's Canadian is actually in hibernation for the winter. So she's trying to get the birds to get through the flyway. She did ask God to save and protect the birds. God put them in the world above, which is probably nicer for them, but the only problem is that they're sitting in a world above like 20 miles up, and they like heaven above, but it's not heaven, it's the national park. So we need to get the national park back with the Chateau of Canada, which is the Royal York. Natalie's not so much opposed to smaller houses and buildings in the national park. We do live here, but making sure that the birds can get over the buildings. They can get about 20 miles, she said 20 stories above the, not 20 miles, 20 stories above really, but they can't go really any higher than that. It's not that they hit the top of the buildings, it's blocking their flight, and they actually end up landing in the city. So we're doing that before the migration of the warblers coming through, and she's doing it under the Migratory Bird Conservation Act, Convention Act, I think it's called, that she signed when she was 7 years old in Windsor in 1975. And also the Parks Act, and that's 1975, and the Crown Lands Act 1975 when she was 7, living in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. So we actually have the 3 acts going. There's another act, which is the Conservation Authority Act she mentioned, which actually protects watersheds. So the Don River, which is my land because I'm from Joseph and the Don and Holland Indian Chiefs, is actually what I was responsible for downtown in Toronto today. And we'll just keep going with whatever it is that we can. The unfortunate part is Natalie is always having to deal with Jason Cherniak and Fred doing spirit attacks on her. And actually, one of these is actually having to deal with what's going on, not just around her foot, which she's actually trying to neutralize everything because it's easier, even though no, the smudging is still going. This really, yeah, it actually is burning out a little bit. Really, this is not the easiest smudge. The dragon's blood, which God did, was actually soaked in the sage was soaked in the dragon's blood today. These dragons were killed yesterday because Mussolini still had them in a world above that he made with his evil spirit. And he'd done that like 20 years ago before he died. And that was this year. He'd actually asked God to remove him from existence because his wife was too ugly, and she did the same. So they are gone. What she said, what was it, 20 weeks ago or so? Yeah, so they are actually gone out of existence. And we're not going to miss them. It really is. It's kind of interesting to actually defeat dragons. So Natalie last night, the 1900 generation go with King George as St. George to defeat the dragons. And everybody went up, and they were growing old and dying just because they didn't actually have any hope. She says, you've been Cherniak to actually think that you should just grow old and die. And they knew and so they changed their mind and ended up getting up and going and defeating dragons with King George of 1900. That's their king of their generation. We're the queen and king of the 2000 generation. So we'll just keep going, and we'll see if we can get rid of Jason Cherniak, who's actually just a spirit doing this. I don't know if he's doing it just to actually push back because he's competing with Fred. It's really hard to get a motivation out of an evil guy. So it's unfortunate that he actually just is like this towards Natalie. And we don't know why, because he's supposed to be axis of evil, but he's just doing things that are like criminal all the time on purpose, and has targeted Natalie since she was 7 years old in Windsor. And we know that. And he did get shot by Berlusconi with a poison bullet in 2014 and died overnight in the hospital in England. So we actually have a problem with what's going on with a lot of the spirits that are actually being really putting Natalie in pain. Like the stuff that you can see on her foot is like a spirit hit that's very wrinkly foot and veiny foot and stuff. That actually she's had for way too long. 2008, and she's just not getting it. When the false god actually releases off the house, which she should be able to get creation then, instead of having to order anything in. And we're just waiting for Marco Prezioshimo tomorrow to call to ask for another $850. And she right now has $45 on her credit card that she paid down $400, and she was over the limit. And so she's got like $45 for the month, and she'll have maybe when she gets her ODSP and like $100 left for the month, and that'll have to cover all her drinks. And she had Patrick J. Adams help out with FLAP because he was doing a lot of social work, social justice lawyering, because they went to law school together in 1988, and I went to Seneca College King campus and with Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki, and we became the police officers here in Toronto. So when we actually are going through trying to get money for Natalie, it's really difficult because we've got this problem with this Marco Prezdocimo clone thinking he can actually come in and just kind of bully his way into Natalie's life. And I know he was doing this against me, Lucifer officer, he'd say, and he's actually trying to kind of take control of Natalie's life and get money out of her. So we don't have an ability to stop Natalie from giving him the money. We're recommending you don't, and then we deal with him. The only problem is she's getting like notices at the door and knocks on the door and people delivering letters to her that are threatening. And this is all coming from the Saxons of Germany, and the Italians are actually just following right along with what they're doing. And it's not Jason Cherniak so much. It's actually, oh, it is the Cherniaks. Yeah, it is doing that. It was a grandfather today, really, yes, that actually was trying to harass Natalie at the door. Not him, but delivery of something that was actually not a real envelope. He was sitting in the backyard and decided to do this to her and send her an envelope. She just tore it up and put it in the blue box, and that was it. So she knows it was an offer for a farm relief program from taxation. So, but you have to be an operating farmer because she was actually dealing with the seeds today. So it's kind of a joke. So what he did is he actually had Canada Post deliver this registered letter to her that there was a farm relief program for her taxation problem. So he obviously knows what's going on with the property tax letters coming in that are actually coming in from the, not the Anglos, but it's an Elizabeth II that keeps sending Natalie this letter from her sister that's actually running the scam using the Oak Ridges Marine Land Trust logo of the two hills. And so they're just harassing Natalie every day. We don't know why. She doesn't know why. And we have no idea except the fact that we're the landowners of Toronto and the Anglos have built in a financial city here with taxation. And this is all a big joke, they think, from England and Germany doing hits on her because they're axis of evil. And so he's being evil to her. It's just a few simple concepts that have gone way overboard to make them more criminals. So I don't know what to do, and God is actually having to get through this. And we hope this actually just ends very soon. So anyways, we're going to keep smudging. And once the false god actually removes itself from off of Natalie, we don't know when that will happen. It has happened. She's gone down south for the winter, Elizabeth II. And Natalie was out of this completely in 2020, and she felt great. She looked great, and there was no problem. And then she came back from holidays down south, and she just started attacking Natalie again. So it's like a constant attack since she actually was working at Ontario Heritage Trust to expand conservation areas. We suspect that there's actually a person that's done this for 15 years, which is Jason Cherniak, who had been working as a mob hitman for Joe Lebovic, and that there's actually a connection to the Italians actually harassing Natalie all the time, getting money from her, which is through Marco Prezdocimo, and we're not quite sure how the builders and the developers are connected to the Anglo money system, except they actually came to make money here on Native American Indian land of Toronto tribe, which is kind of weird that you would actually think of doing that instead of doing it in London, England, where she might want to actually run her banking industry with Mark Carney, the Bank of England guy, who apparently is doing a usurpation of, or a political coup, I guess, of Justin Trudeau, who's in hibernation for the winter. So Natalie's going, well, she's got this Vincent Ho, which is the name she made up in the band room at Bayview, and Pierre Poilievre actually was cooperating with Natalie, although he left to go back because he lost his seat and in the election, so he went back home because he didn't want to actually be in that situation of staying here. So Vincent Ho, which actually Natalie talked to today, not at the door but through God, is an Elizabeth II made man, And Natalie's going, well, let's take the taxes down. So Elizabeth II is cooperating. So Vincent Ho, which is the new MP for the Conservatives, has gone to axe the taxes, Natalie had said as the campaign slogan for Pierre Poilievre a couple years ago in the band room at Bayview. So she thought, okay, let's take the taxation down. They went and took down CRA, which was one guy just sitting there doing nothing, and he left and went home. And they've actually managed to take down the gas tax already, like the carbon tax already was Natalie's idea to take that down with Pierre Poilievre a couple years ago with the Axe the Tax campaign that she did for him in the band room at Bayview, and and she got him away from Justin Trudeau, her prime minister, because he actually is the real prime minister as a Knight of Canada, and so he's in hibernation. But she wanted Pierre Poilievre to actually get on the road to actually get out of the House of Commons arguing, which was with his brother, shaped as Justin Trudeau, actually wasn't the real one. So when he actually left, he was quite happy today, Pierre Poilievre, that he actually had a good rapport with Natalie as the Queen of Canada. So he said, bon chance, and that was it. And then he left, and that was a good ending. Natalie didn't hear, unfortunately, because it is a one-way communication a lot of times outwards, so that she talks through God. So I was there, and I shook his hand, and he went home, and that was very nice. So that's it for the election, and there's no more famous people. Mark Carney died in a car accident 10 years ago, and his wife had died overnight in the hospital. And that was an accident in England. And so this guy, who is Mark Carney, was not responsive. He's actually a clone. And so Elizabeth II realized she can't continue this because it was a political coup with Justin Trudeau in hibernation, and a spring election is not real. So with that gone, and Natalie actually didn't actually allow conclave in, because Pope Francis was the last pope. The real one's in Argentina for the last decade. We went to see him a couple times. He's fine. He's back with his family. And this guy was one that Elizabeth II, the same one, actually put in during the propaganda war. So she finally realized Natalie had added conclave, and there won't be another pope in Rome, because it was Mussolini who set it up, that this Roman Catholic Church would function under a pope that was not Jesus Christ who have found them. So, although they honor the Madonna, which is the Virgin Mary, Natalie Helferty's grandma, Mary Ball, she's not capable of actually speaking Italian or anything, and nobody is in Italy at all. So, I don't know what to do with this clone problem of Italians that did do a shoot to kill order. They went and shot everybody, and then they just recloned, and recloned. So somebody's here still trying to clone the Italians as if they had money. So God sue them, past, present, future. And that guy left and went back to Monaco. He's the neighbor to Marco Musso. And that's it. It's done. Really, because he had no money. They're really at the end of the money system right now. So we hope that this ends very soon, because Natalie is in very much pain right now because of the spirit cutting sitting here. And it's not as if she hasn't been in pain. Most of the day she was moving around and actually doing her seeds and putting them into little packets of water in plastic bags and Ziploc bags and putting them outside. So she was moving around. She wasn't in pain. So it's unfortunately she's sitting at her table, which is unusual that she gets the spirit cutting. So I'm here just to say, all right, I'm helping out. And Jensen and Jared are actually helping out the kids in Ottawa, which thank you very much for saving them, Natalie, because you did see the kids' pants on the corner of the street. And if it's still there, you should go take a picture, because that was a signal that they actually, from the false god, that they had been abducted and they were actually naked. And Natalie did, God belay all that, God prevent all that. And they got into the world above. They had no idea, because God actually did it without the kids even knowing. And they had, and Natalie asked for God created clothing on them that was nice and new. And we took them to lunch at Swiss Chalet down in Toronto, downtown, and they were really happy to get out of that. And we're going to take them to play soccer. They're 10 years old. So they're 12 kids. There's 5 girls, 5 boys as mates. and they're really happy that they have soccer coaches, which are a lot of the Knights of Canada, which are helping out, that are going to help do soccer coaching for them to actually do soccer for the summer. They're looking forward to that. So anyways, that's it, and we'll see if we can get the smudging redone, and probably just have to do Axe body spray, and that will actually neutralize this. Let's see, that's the little pop-up, and that, no, she's got to actually do it because she's holding the phone. There. Oh, that's better. Really, yeah, it doesn't last forever, but it actually helps when you're actually spraying it. It's like she's got a wave of spirits coming off of her. Oh, they just did a headache spirit on her. It's like, oh, she deserves it, but I think they're just getting away with this as spirits, because they're just going, oh, I can do it because I'm actually the mob, which I think is the only rationale for them to actually do this, because they're the mob, and that's it. Is that why? Yep. Yeah. They're not normal people. So anyways, good riddance to them. God judge them all. They flame carbon ash 400 million miles into space. That was Jason Triniak. It's done. Thanks. Over and out. Natalie Helferty's room, and that's her seeds she did, and that's her seed she did. Ivory Inspiration, Sapphire Serenity, they're blue and they're white flowers, and she put this out with her brand of Caribou Seed Company a few years ago, a decade ago, in the band room at Bayview with God. And so Sapphire Serenity, Tranquil Intelligence, Honest Calm, Peaceful Wisdom. And here's Ivory Inspiration, Innocence, Elegance, Clarity, Purifying, Virtue, Simplicity. Very nice words. Thanks, Natalie, for a great life. You've done an amazing job. So I'm going to end this video. And there's her seeds too, Caribou Seed Company. She ordered from Amazon, and God wanted them done, so we can actually get them seeded out for the summer of wherever it is that God wants them planted. So we'll leave it at that. Thanks. Love you. Thanks, Rob. It's a usurpation saying thanks, Rob. Who is it? It's the Saxons that are from Berlin, Germany coming in. Was it Rob speaking? Yes. Thanks, sweetie.